Hey, what's up guys? It's JP with Just Lucky today, and we're gonna walk through some of the One Piece sets and their set values across the board. Is it worth to buy some sealed with the current pullback that we're seeing right now with One Piece TCG? So this is the website. I have this website set up, but I'll mainly go through the sets that we have, and possibly we'll go through some of this front page stuff in a future video. Just a quick overview. I'll probably just walk through some of the current sets and maybe some of the sets that I do like, in terms of, I don't know, investment value or rippability, but take that as a grain of salt. This is not financial advice. So that being said, let's dive right into it. The most recent set and the current set that everyone's kind of going crazy about, this is the EVO3 set, currently valued at 315 for the lowest listed TCG player price and a positive EV of 643. Again, this number is determined by the lowest listed and the value of the chase cards of the set. So again, take that as you will. But again, not everyone is going to come out positive $600 from ripping a box of EVO3. But yeah, some of the top hits, some of the top four cards. So we're looking at Boa SP, Robin SP, Nami SP, and Utamanga. These are solid cards, and I think there are a lot of people trying to buy this, rip for this, and just grade this. So yeah, it kind of explains why the price is at 315, and it was previously before release. This was at like $700, and people were going crazy on Whatnot streams trying to pay like what, like 40, $50 a box or something for SRs that were pretty much super playable at the time. But yeah, that being said, I'm not fully sure where this box is headed just because there were a lot of, I guess, like social media demand around this box, and not sure if that was fully inflated. But again, this is still within the first month of the release, so yeah, I'm curious to see where this box goes. The next box we're looking at is OB14, currently valued at $238 at a box with a positive EV of 336. I believe that this is a $300 box. In my opinion, we're at the same value, top five value of the EBO3. We got the Buggy SPs. Some people like to call this the Bubble Zoro, Mihawk Manga, Boa SP. So there are quite a bit of collectability within this set specifically. You know, the Seven Warlords of the Sea. Solid set. And I do think there's a lot of room for this to move up. That being said, like it is likely being overshadowed by EVO3 and OP15. And yeah, I love this set. Again, I think there's more room for this. But moving on to OP13, this is box value at 545 with the EV of $2,879. That's clearly inflated by the fact that the lowest listed for the red mangas are at $20,000. Again, there are some crazy cards from this set, and we have like the Luffy selling raw at like $12,000, which is, you know, insane for a single card, but the market wants what the market wants. So that being said, at 545, I think it's pretty decent. I'll probably be grabbing some of these myself. But again, this EV is inflated by the fact that people are not going to sell red mangas on TCG Player. They're likely probably selling it on eBay or a private sale of sorts. But yeah, let's move on. PRBO2. PRBO2 is great, a great set. It's at a negative EV, but again, if you're buying this for long term, if you're buying this to hold or even rip, I think this is a great box to rip. But it's one of those that, you know, it does get expensive when you start ripping it. But there are the new illustration boxes with these, with the OP13 as well. So it's fun. There are a lot of cards in here that are very interesting, playable, but also like collectible. Sanji manga, Gum Gum Giant manga event. We have the Shanks SP, which is super cool. This card looks sick in person. And then we have the Come On, We'll Fight You manga event. But yeah, some great cards in this as well. Do I see more leg up in this box? I do think long term because this is the second PRB, and with the first PRB being at 850. I think at its peak was maybe like $1,100 a box. It's just one of those boxes that are kind of like scarce. So I do see a more leg up, and this could be maybe close to like 400. But again, that's just my opinion. I'll be skipping 12 and I'll kind of dive right into OP11. This is my favorite box of all of the boxes because, again, this is relatively cheap. Take that as you will. $400 a box at 1,500 EV. Inflated by the fact that we have the gold and silver Gear 5 Luffy SPs. One of the most, I guess, just like the holy grail almost of the One Piece cards. So I love these cards, and I think these will probably be one of those, like, top 5 cards that people will really want. But yeah, that being said, at 400, I definitely think there is a lot of room for OP11 to kind of like continue to do that move. When we get more interest, like the Netflix just came out, the Netflix season 2 for the live action, and we have Elbaf in less than 30 days coming out. So yes, it is very interesting to see that like there are a lot of sets that are kind of overshadowed by other sets. But again, the market moves, and you never know what's going to happen. EVO2, I'm not the biggest fan of this set. We're at $480 a box with the EV at $2,395 with the manga being the Gear 2 Luffy. This is a solid card, and I think there are a ton of collectors trying to grab these cards at the moment with the fact that it is cheaper now. But again, we don't really know where the market's going to move here. But One Piece is one of those like globally acclaimed animes, and there's probably a lot of room. But I'm not the biggest fan of EVO2. That being said, these gold leaders um, are definitely harder to pull, and that's kind of like the gimmick of EVO2. That's what drives the high EV of this box. That being said, I do think that is a gimmick, and people are kind of artificially pushing that up. I personally would not like this box at 480. In my opinion, this is maybe closer to like a $400 box. Moving on, we'll be skipping OP10 and going to OP09. The Gold D. Roger Gold Manga. People are saying this is one of the hardest cards to pull out of all the booster boxes, even harder than the red mangas. We're at 610 a box with the EV of $2,800. There's also quite a bit of mangas in this box. And we have the Nami SP, Boa SP, and some of the wanted posters that are definitely like iconic. Zoro Juro, one of my favorite cards as well. A lot of great cards from this set. So just from the top hits, like these look sick. But I do think there is some interest around OP09, but at 610, this is quite a bit of an expensive box to get. I think there's other boxes that you can get, maybe like OP13 at 545, OP11. But again, kind of do what you will. If you like a certain card, if you like a certain box and you believe in it, that's definitely a right step toward the right direction. And moving on to PRBO1, one of the Grail booster boxes, if you will, for collectability's sake. Ripping a God pack would be absolutely insane. Getting all the mangas in one pack, like I would be shaking too if I were to rip this along with the Nami manga. And you get Gear 5 Luffy manga, like that's absolutely insane. But again, I have to remind you that the box price is at $850. So that is quite a bit of a reach for a lot of people. So although it is technically cheaper than what it was at its peak, this is definitely one of the expensive boxes. But that being said, this is one of the holy grails of booster boxes. Like this is, they don't call it the best for no reason. It is one of the best boxes, and I think at 850 it's decent. I do think it's and above $1,000 box value in general, and I think that's what it's cost or should cost. But yeah, take that as you will. We'll move on from OP01. We're skipping some of these boxes because there are other boxes that are better. EB01, Chopper manga, you know, like people are gonna collect Chopper. People love Chopper. There's a ton of plushies. Like he's a great character, and at 750, is he that great? Just kidding. Chopper's great, but that being said, it's quite an expensive box. But it is the first EB set. Um, I'm not the biggest fan of it at this price, but you know, you might be. Um, but I'll leave that there for EB01. And then this is likely the last box that I'll go into because some of the sets like Romance Dawn, it's been kind of like all over the place. So I'll probably be skipping those maybe for a future video. But OP05, we have the Gear 5, OG Gear 5, and Oda Sig. In my opinion, this is very close to that PRB01 kind of like value. It is a bit higher than PRB01 at the moment. Just because I think everyone wants that Oda Sig. Like everyone wants that. That is one of the cards that will be as scarce as it can get, but a lot also because it's super collectible. Like this is something you want to hold on to long term. And that goes for the same with this box. We're at an EV of $7,000, obviously inflated by the fact that these prices are very marked up at TCG low. So yeah, I mean, I personally cannot get a box at 993, but again, there are a lot of people that are willing to pay it for it at this price. I'll probably prefer to get a PRBO1 box. But at the same time, I can get multiple OP13 or like multiple OP11, and those are my favorite sets. So like, and I believe in those sets long term, and I do think that some of the hits from these boxes are more sought after than the other ones. But again, there's a lot of new stuff happening in One Piece, and it's super exciting. All the tournaments that are going on, all the new cards that are coming out, and OP15 is one of those sets that I'm super excited about as well. With the Enel manga, I think the Kobe manga is also coming out in here, so that's very interesting. But those are my opinions, and it's very exciting to kind of be involved in this. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. What's a box that you guys are looking to buy? What's a box that you guys are looking to rip? And you know, are you guys looking to invest in these boxes as well? Is this kind of the same thing with like Pokemon of everybody wanting to get or hold on to product? But again, ripping One Piece is so fun that like it's hard to keep it sealed. But yeah, thanks guys. And we'll stay tuned for the next video.